Hi guys. I hope you guys are having a terrific Tuesday. Um, so yesterday I read chapters 1 and 2 in Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus. They were talking about how Junie B is about to be in kindergarten and how she got to meet her teacher. And how she was feeling going to her first day of kindergarten, and that was squeezy. She was really nervous, and she didn't really want to get on the bus. So that's where we left off with that. Today, chapter 3 is called The Stupid Smelly Bus. So this is when she actually gets on the bus. The bus wasn't like my daddy's car at all. It was very big inside, and the seats didn't have any cloth on them. The little curly-haired girl was sitting near the front, so I tapped on her. "Guess what?" I said. "Mother said for me to sit here." "No," she said. "I'm saving this seat for my best friend, Mary Ruth Marble." Then she put her little white purse on the place where I was going to sit. And so I made a face at her. "Hurry up and find a seat, young lady," said Mr. Wu. And so I quick sat down across from the curly mean girl. And Mr. Wu shut the door. It wasn't a regular kind of door, though. It folded in half, and when it closed, it made a swishy sound. I don't like that kind of door. If it closes on you by accident, it will cut you in half, and you will make a squishy sound. The bus made a big roar. Then a puff of black, smelly smoke came out the back of it. It's called bus breath, I think. Mr. Wu drove for a while. Then the brakes made that loud, screechy noise again. I covered my ears so it couldn't get inside my head. 'Cause if loud, screechy noise get inside your head, you have to take an aspirin. I saw that on a TV commercial. Then the bus door opened again, and a dad and a boy with a grouchy face got on. The dad smiled. Then he plopped the grouchy boy right next to me. "This is Jim," he said. "I'm afraid Jim isn't too happy this afternoon." The dad kissed the boy goodbye, but the boy wiped it off his cheek. Jim had on a backpack. It was blue. I love backpacks. I wish I had one of my very own. One time I found a red one in a trash can, but it had a little bit of gushy on it, and Mother said no. Jim's backpack had lots of zippers. I touched each one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted. Then I unzipped one. "Hey, don't!" yelled Jim. He zipped it right up. Then he moved to the seat in front of me. I hate that Jim. After that, the bus kept stopping and starting, and lots of kids kept getting on. Loud kids, and some of them were the kind who look like meanies. Then the bus began getting very noisy and hot inside, and the sun kept shining down on me and my fuzzy hot sweater. And here's another hot thing. I couldn't roll my window down because it didn't have a handle. And so I just kept on getting hotter and hotter. And it smelled in the bus, too. The bus smelled like an egg salad sandwich. "I want to get off here," I said right out loud, but nobody heard me. I hated on this stupid, smelly bus. Then my eyes got a little bit wet. I wasn't crying, though, 'cause I'm not a baby. That's why. After that, my nose started running, only the bus didn't have a glove department, which is where you keep the travel tissues, of course. And so I had to wipe my nose on my fuzzy pink sweater sleeve. Then I stayed on the bus for about an hour or 3, until finally I saw a flagpole and a playground. That meant we were at kindergarten. Then Mr. Wu drove the bus onto the parking lot and stopped. I jumped up very fast, 'cause all I wanted to do was get off that stupid smelly thing. Only guess what? That Jim pushed right in front of me. And the curly mean girl did, too. And then people started squishing me real tight. And so I pushed them away. And then they pushed me right back. That's when I fell down. And a big foot stepped on my skirt that looks like velvet. "Stop it!" I yelled. Then Mr. Wu hollered, "Hey, hey, hey!" And he picked me up and helped me off the bus. Mrs. was waiting for me, just like my mother said. "Hi, I'm glad to see you," she called. Then I ran over to her and I showed her the big footprint on my skirt that looks like velvet. Yeah, only look what happened. I got stepped on, and so now I'm soiled. Mrs. brushed it. "Don't worry, Junie," she said. "It'll come off." After that, I just folded my arms and made a frown, because guess what? She forgot my B again. Chapter 4. Me and Lucille and some other kids. Some of the other bus kids turned out to be in my class, too. One of them was that Jim. That Jim I hate. Mrs. made us line up. Then we followed her to our room. Its name is Room 9. There were other kids waiting by the door. When Mrs. unlocked it, everyone squeezed in all at once. That Jim stepped on my new shoe. He made a scratch mark on my shiny shoe. The kind of scratch that licking won't fix. "Hey, watch it, you dumb Jim," I hollered at him. Mrs. bent down next to me. "Let's try to use our quiet voice while we're in school," she said. I nodded nicely. "I hate that Jim," I said in my quiet voice. After that, Mrs. clapped her hands together very loud. "I want everyone to find a chair and sit down as fast as you can," she said. That's when I ran to the table with the red chair. Only guess what? There was already somebody sitting there, a girl with little red fingernails. And so I tapped her and I said, I would like to sit there, I think." "No," she said, "I am." "Yeah, only I already picked that chair out," I told her. "Ask my mother if you don't believe me." But the girl just shook her head no. And then Mrs. clapped her loud hands again and said, "Please find a seat." And so then I had to quick sit down in a stupid yellow chair, the same stupid color as the stupid yellow bus. After that, Mrs. walked to a big closet in the back of the room. It's called the supply closet. She got out boxes of new pointy crayons and some white circles. Then she passed them out, and we had to print our names on the circles and pin them to our fronts. It was our first work. "If you need help spelling your name, raise your hand," said Mrs. I raised my hand. "I don't need help," I told her. "Grandma Miller says I print beautifully." I used red, but then a big mistake happened. I made my Junie too big, and there wasn't any room left for my B, and so I had to squish it very teeny at the bottom. "I hate this stupid dumb circle," I hollered. Mrs. made the shh sound and gave me a new one. "Thank you," I said nicely. "Grandma Miller says I print beautifully." The girl with the little red fingernails was faster than me. She showed me her circle and pointed to her letters. Lucille. "That spells Lucille," she said. "I like that name of Lucille," I said, "because guess why? Seals are my favorite animals, that's why." Then Mrs. passed out drawing paper, and we drew pictures of our family. Mrs. put a happy sticker on mine. It was very good, except I made my father too teeny, and my mother's hair looked like sticks. After that, Mrs. took our class on a walk around the school. Everyone had to find a buddy to walk with. My buddy was Lucille. We held hands. The boy I can beat up was right in front of us. His buddy was that Jim. That Jim I hate. The first place we walked to is called the Media Center. My mother calls it a library. It's where the books are. And guess what? Books are my favorite things in the whole world. "Hey, there's a jillion of them in there," I hollered, feeling very excited. "I think I love this place." The librarian bent down next to me. She said to use my quiet voice. Yeah, only guess what? Right now, I just like the kind of books with pictures. But Mother says, when I get big, I'm going to like the kind with just words. And also stewed tomatoes. The boy I can beat up said, shh. And I made a fist at him. Then he turned around. After that, we went to the cafeteria. The cafeteria is where kids eat lunch, except not when you're in kindergarten. I said, it smells yummy in here, just like paschetti and meatballs. Then that Jim turned around and held his nose. P.U. I smell you, he said. Lucille laughed very hard, and so I stopped holding her hand. The next place we went to was the nurse's office. It's very cute in that place. There are 2 little beds where you get to lie down, and 2 little blankets that are the color of plaid. Our nurse doesn't look like a nurse. She doesn't wear white clothes and white shoes. Our nurse is just a regular color. Lucille raised her hand. My brother said that last year he came here. And you let him take off his shoes, and he got a drink of water and just his socks. That Jim turned around again. P.U. I smell your feet, he said to Lucille. This time Lucille stuck out her tongue at him. After that, we held hands again. Chapter 5 is called Principal. All right, so for the activity today, what I would like you guys to do is, I would like you to draw a picture of a school bus, but I want you to get creative with it. I want you to make it a cool school bus, not just a generic yellow one. Make it anything that you want it. What do you think a cool school bus would look like? So that way, you don't think of it as a stupid smelly bus like Junie B does. And if I'm not going to have you guys write today. I just want you guys to get creative with your drawing of your school buses, and I can't wait to see what they look like. So I'll read chapters 5 and 6 tomorrow.